Thank you so much, Tom. Now we move on to our final speaker of the night, Niall Aslam. Niall Aslam is a mental health advocate, ambassador for the National Autistic Society, and former reality TV contestant. Following his appearance on Love Island and subsequent departure due to a psychotic episode, Niall has used his platform to raise awareness about mental health challenges, particularly those faced by autistic individuals. Now you have the ears of the house.
Hi everyone. Is it on? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I came here today to share a bit about my story, as every now and again, when the conversations often around duty of care and reality TV creeps up, my story can sometimes get mentioned.
I'd like to state that I'm going to try to keep everything as relevant as I can to the debate, because my thoughts about reality TV as a whole, I could go down a lot of lines with that. While my time on Love Island was short, my actual journey with Love Island certainly was not. While the show was a long time ago now, if anyone here can think back and was maybe watching the 2018 season, I was an early favourite and the first boy to actually walk into the villa. However, on the 9th day, I suddenly disappeared and there was a brief message around personal reasons, and there was no further mention of that. This was then quickly changed to medical reasons around 3-4 days later. The truth was, at that time, my experience had taken on the format more akin to a messed up version of The Truman Show. I was sent to a separate villa in Spain and placed on various antipsychotic medication because I was experiencing something that I didn't know at the time, but was stress-induced psychosis. For anyone not aware, psychosis is when people lose contact with reality. This might involve seeing or hearing things that other people cannot see or hear, and believing things that are actually not true. In less formal terms, I'd completely lost the plot. Prior to entering the show, I had disclosed that I'm autistic and I have certain small requirements. I know this may sound funny to some, but I let them know I'm a very plain eater. I'm talking chicken nuggets, I'm talking smiley faces, fish fingers, that kind of a deal. I also requested, a few days in, when I realised the show was nothing as I had been promised, some minor adjustments such as some quiet time or some music. I remember a time where a producer sat me down and played me some Les Miserables, because it's a personal favourite of mine, and they acted like, they gave me the world. But basically what happened, the lack of understanding and minor adjustments ultimately led me going to this state of psychosis, in which I was experiencing delusions from believing I was a wizard, the smartest person on the planet, to trying to move objects with my mind, like in the film Matilda, which disappointingly I could not. It might come to be surprising to some people, but these are actually quite common delusions with psychosis. So to this day, I'm still humbled by the fact that in my delusional state, I still manage to lack originality. I'm aware some people may say I should have known what to expect, but I guess I was naive. And at the time, I'm a very literal thinker. And I originally, as you were saying, I applied for the Channel 4 show first date when I was on Xbox with my friend. And then after a string of events, I somehow ended up on Love Island. But that's a story for another day. Back to the story at hand. I was flown from Spain to the Nightingale Psychiatric Hospital in London and placed on further antipsychotic medication, a cocktail of Xanax, olanzapine, and aripiprazole. And for those who are aware, this is a very powerful triple threat. I had no idea of reality, where I was, and then I faced the reality of not being able to leave. I spent 2 weeks in the psychiatric unit experiencing these psychotic delusions. I remember at one point, my mum bought me some bath bombs from Lush, and if you ever watch Harry Potter, when they get the egg and they put it in the bath for the clue, I thought, she's trying to send me some kind of clue here. And then ultimately, I just put them all in the bath, and I turned out to be very sparkly, but no clue arrived. Though I can look back and make light of some of these situations I found myself in. I was dealing with very severe side effects from the medication, most notably severely slurred speech. So if anyone can remember when Kerry Katona did an interview years ago, and then people were saying she was drunk, and later came out and said it was her bipolar medication. I promise you right now, that was her bipolar medication. Yeah, I was dealing with the severe side effects, and eventually having to come down with some psychosis, because what comes up must come down. My brain had reached a level it should never have got to, and ultimately I reached a severe depression. I'm going to cut a very long story short. Eventually, after meetings detailing the effects the psychosis had on my life, some unsuccessful CBT and EDMR therapy, I was then left to deal with this new reality, all while dealing with coming off such a high-profile show. I do want to acknowledge that my case is a rare, extreme example of in which states were clearly made. I had never had psychosis before, and I haven't had it since. But within 9 days under their care, I was sent into the stress-induced psychotic episode and whisked away into a psychiatric unit. Not the best look. This brings me to some points I would like to raise, as I'm not here to dwell on one awful experience that I faced. I've gone on to do things I'm proud of, and I've done my best to not let it define or beat me. I'm here to talk about what we can learn from it and how it can apply to this debate. While you decide whether reality TV is something you would consider, I want to raise the fact that often reality TVs love to parade their examples of inclusion, but when disabilities aren't superpowers and mistakes are made, they are first to ensure those stories disappear. I mean, my one, didn't really get any airtime, that bit, but, They introduce new duty of care protocols when something goes wrong to move forward, but rarely acknowledge or address the damage done in the past. They're quick to hashtag be kind, but when a narrative doesn't suit them, they can be anything but. I'm not here actually to tell you not to go on reality TV or to feel bad about sitting down in the evening with a Chinese to enjoy it. I'm here to raise the point that reality TV companies shouldn't be able simply to add a new duty of care document, pretend everything is fixed and move on. This is a cycle that has been going on long before my experiences with reality TV, and it will continue to do so unless actual change happens. We see more and more documentaries about negative experiences people have... We see more and more... Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask, do you think that reality TV is solely to blame, or do you think that social media also exacerbates these problems that you're talking about now?
With my personal experience with psychosis?
Well, yeah, your problems, or people that can face similar problems as well.
I think with me, I didn't have access to social media when the psychosis and stuff happened. But I mean, I was going to get onto that. That I think it's easier for nowadays, as when you were doing your speech, you were quick to mention Gemma Collins and all these big names. And I think people, that's when they think about reality TV and they're making their decisions, that's who they're thinking of, these big success stories. But when it's actually, you look at the, probably the ratio and the amounts of people, the success that actually comes from it, there's actually probably a lot more people that kind of went on with these aspirations that aren't crossing your mind when you're making like that decision. But social media definitely can influence that, because I think the bigger success stories have the higher interactions, the more views, where, people that aren't deemed kind of fit enough, not fit enough, but like desirable in the big stories aren't seen as much by people. So you're kind of left with a landscape where people, this debate might be influenced when, yeah, do you know what I mean? Okay, where was I? Why decide if reality is something that you would consider? I want to raise the fact, I was there. This is a cycle that has been going on before me. We see more and more documentaries these days about the negative experiences people have faced with reality TV in the past. But I fear in years to come, we'll be looking back at some of today's shows in the same light, asking how was that allowed to happen? To move forward, sometimes you have to go back. While I acknowledge that often the use stance of reality TV contestants know what they sign up for, the truth often lies somewhere in the middle. There's been plenty of incidents where the experiences of some participants have crossed the line from reality TV to outright mistreatment, and contestants have to deal with this with everything publicly, while the producers who have wronged them get to sit behind the scenes and deal with it with complete anonymity. All while the shows that have wronged them preach about mental health awareness while disregarding theirs. I don't want to speak on other people's stories, but I do know there are contestants and family members that still deal with the consequences of some of these shows' actions. And I believe before truly saying things have changed, we need to actually address the mistakes of the past, not just sweep them under the rug. Now, this debate poses whether reality TV is a damaging industry that should be avoided at all costs, or whether it is a transformative experience. Two things can be true at the same time. As I've mentioned, I'm not here to tell you to avoid something and tell you that you'll also end up in a psychiatric unit with psychosis trying to move objects with your mind like Matilda. The truth is, you probably won't, and you may get some great brand deals and have a great time. However, when making a decision, I think it's important to be fully aware the way information is presented with reality TV, especially in today's social landscape, is often skewed. The more positive stories tend to dominate the interactions in the spotlight, while the negative ones can be brushed under the rug and only come to attention when it's unavoidable. On top of this, people can feel pressure to present a false reality, which is becoming easier to do with social media. I believe all of this has contributed to an incomplete picture, making it more difficult for audiences and yourself here tonight to truly make an informed decision on whether reality TV is a transformative thing or it's something that you want to do.
Thank you so much, Niall, for that speech. Well, before we conclude, I just have a few notices. The first thing is that our DRO applications are now open, as Anushka will tell you. So please do apply. And then the other thing is just that please do look at our calendar for this week, as we have a whole host of events which everyone should and will come to, hopefully. Now, before, I'll also announce the floor speech prize. This week was two tickets to cocktail making classes, and that will go to the person up there. And now, the final thing is please, please, please do not come up here after the debate and swarm the speakers. They will all be in the bar afterwards to talk to, so please do refrain from coming in this area after the debate. Cool. So, in this chamber, we vote with our feet. Eyes to the right, nose to the left, and attention through the middle. We'll reveal the results in the bar in a short time. Thank you so much for coming, and have a lovely night.